In the biogeographical regions today, we will be discussing about the West Indies. So we have discussed about the East Indies, we have discussed about the Wallacea. All of these are the group of islands and which are present in certain places where two continents are joining together. The West Indies are also such a group of islands which are present where the two large continents are sort of joining together. Though superficially similar in their geographical position, poised between the two continents, the islands of the Caribbean do not present the same fascinating problem as the islands of Wallacea because they do not lie between continents with totally different faunas and floras. So the North American and the South American continents, they do not have so much difference in their faunas and floras. So the cases that we have seen already, just like the Australia or the Australian plate and the Asian region, all of these are having very different floras and fauna, and when they joined on these islands, they were having very different biodiversity. But in this case, the North America and South America, they were having very similar flora and fauna. So the case of Wallacea is not very much related to the islands of the West Indies that we are going to discuss now. So here you can see the West Indies map. You can see the Bahamas, the island group of Bahamas, Cuba, Jamaica, Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, and Lesser Antilles. So there is a view that all of these islands were, the Antilles at least, were present on a bigger mass, right? So we will be discussing about that. So the West Indies is a group of islands or the large earth masses which are present between the North America and the South America. The West Indies have posed a different and interesting problem, just different to the Wallacea. Are their faunas and flora primarily result of vicariance due to the evolution on islands that arose by the breakup of large proto-Antillean landmass? So you remember that we were discussing about the Antillar masses of the Antilla, the islands, and proto-Antillean landmass, that means Antillean landmass which was combining all of those Antilla islands. And are they the result of dispersal from the neighboring continent? So their vicariance means that they are originating on those islands, but are they coming through the dispersal from the different neighboring continents? So what is now the Caribbean region began merely as a gap between the North America and South America, and therefore also between the Atlantic plate to the east and Pacific plate to the west. So Atlantic plate is where the Atlantic Ocean is right now, and the Pacific plate is where the Pacific Ocean is right now. So when these two plates are combining together, they are coming together, as well as these are present between the two large continents, North America and the South America. So here you can see the result. The dark gray tint, the formation of West Indies. The dark gray tint indicates dry land, light blue tint indicates the shallower waters, and dark blue tint indicates deep water. So filled arrows indicate plate motion. So the Pacific plate, which is PP, it is moving eastward, while the Atlantic plate, which is AP, it is moving towards west. And CP, which is a Caribbean plate, it would be sort of elevated somehow. So when ocean crust is being consumed, that will result into the volcanic islands, the islands which are a result of the volcanic activity. You see that there is no connection in here in the late Cretaceous 150 million years ago between the North America and the South America. But due to all of these geological movements, there will be a connection just like it is found today. So in the early Cenozoic, a northward component of movement as South America approached, the North America resulting in appearance of the Greater Antilles, the larger islands of Cuba, Jamaica, Hispaniola, and Puerto Rico. So all of these things, when the southern South America approached the North America, all of these islands were formed along the northern margin of the Caribbean plate. So you can see here again the same thing, and all the information is the same, but here you can see that there are larger earth masses are also being formed. So the ecological diversity of islands is largely based on the radiation of a comparatively small number of higher taxa, and some of which are containing a very large number of species. So all of those islands that we are discussing right now, they are the result of radiation of various taxa, and all of those are having large number of species as well. So this suggests that the small number of immigrants finding themselves in environment lacking their competitors were able to diversify opportunistically into vacant ecological niches. One group of organism arrives and it finds a lot of vacant ecological niches, and those taxa which were arriving, though they do not have very much differences, but the same taxa will be diversifying themselves. A large number of species will be diverging from them, and all of those species will be occupying different ecological niches in that environment. So 1300 native species of freshwater or terrestrial vertebrates in the islands, of which 75% are endemic. So these are the 1300 native species, and these islands contain 672 species of amphibian and reptiles, which belong to the 75 different evolutionary lineages, as we can. The islands thus provide the fascinating picture in which geological, faunal, and molecular studies seem to be converging on a convincing story of dispersal into and through a region of complex history. So this region, this particular Caribbean region of West Indies, it is containing a complex history due to the different geological histories and how the northern and southern Americas, they are coming together, they are contributing to the biota, which is the flora and fauna of those islands. So all of these things combines, these make these islands a treasure trove of information in which we can study the different case studies of organisms, that how they evolved and how they dispersed into the different areas of the islands. So it is also an interesting contrast to East Indies or Wallacea, where the histories of the neighboring continents have been quite different. So as we have discussed earlier when we started this topic, that the Wallacea is quite different because Australia has a very different biogeographical history. Asia has very different biogeographical history. So when they combine, the Wallacea has a unique combination of biogeography. But say in case of the West Indies, the Northern America and Southern America, when they combine, they have rather another unique version in which the species are already related.